Oh, hello, and welcome to Aldente Rigmortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy, most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have, by special demand, Jeff is back again. Jeffrey's back. So we're doing Jeff is back, a Jeff the Killer story, by demand from one of our listeners, on one of our YouTube episodes recently. Amusing Moose contacted us.
Not amused. Very unamused.
Yeah. They asked why we hadn't done a Jeff Fiore this year, and I told them we didn't have any stories that had been like recommended, even though I'd like put out like several calls to action in the forthcoming months leading up to January this year. And nobody bit the lure or anything like that. So
I thought everyone finally is like, you know what? Gamer, he doesn't need to be punished anymore. He's been punished more than enough. He's been putting up with Jeff Fiore for years on end. We know he hates it. Let's just let him live without it for 1 year.
Sleeping dogs lie.
Yeah.
But then Music Moose showed up and wouldn't let that stand, so they sent us like a bunch of recommendations for Jeff the Killer stories.
Thanks.
Some of which we will do in fairly short order, and then one or two we're gonna do like on a special occasion at some point down the road. Because
there's just gonna be random Jeff stories that you're threatening me with in the future.
Yeah, Jeff Fiore is dead. Long live Jeff year. Long live the year of the snake. More like the year of the Jeff.
Wow.
No, we're not going to do like
snake just hiding throughout this year and just suddenly attacking me.
Yeah, you're just going to like wake up in the middle of the night. It's just like it's just going to be Jeff is like, go to sleep.
Read my story. No. Wake up in a cold sweat. It's like, oh fuck. Oh man, I got to read the story. What is it? Oh, it's Jeff. No.
No, God, no. But yeah, so thank you, Amusing Moose, for providing us with some creepypastas based off Jeff the Killer. This one goes out to you. To quote Chief Brody from Jaws to the mayor of the town, Amity Island, you did this. So Jeff is back. It's by as far as I could find, it's by a person named Siddot, Siddot. You can find it on Wattpad there by that person. You can also find it on Creepypasta Spinoff wiki. Also known as creepypastaspinoff.fandom.com/wiki/Jeff is back.
Oh, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, it's not even on the official Creepypasta website because they're sick of Jeff the Killer stories, or the official.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're sick of the Creepypasta or on the Creepypasta wiki. So that's where you can find it, either on Wattpad or on Creepypasta Spinoff wiki. Let's give our initial recommendations for this one. I'm not going to recommend it.
I'm also not going to recommend it.
Fuck, guys. I'm going to partially recommend it.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I am excited to hear your explanation, sir, for why you give that recommendation. But first, we must do the whole show and find out how we got there.
Mm-hmm.
starting with the rundown, featuring a detective in the UK, and then also perhaps a victim based on the character in the story that the detective made. So the rundown here is this. A detective in the UK, after looking over a bunch of evidence from a murder victim, writes down a story, likely trying to formulate a scenario that led up to the victim's death.
So hang on. First off, where does it say that he's from the UK?
Well, they're from. Well, I'm guessing and I'm assuming, and I know what that means. Makes an ass of you and Umption.
Yeah.
But the story takes place in Wales, or around like Wales and like near that, in that part of like of the UK. So I'm assuming.
Well, what?
The story takes place like some of the stuff that's in the story takes place in Wales.
The only thing that happened in Wales is that's where the hacker IP address got tracked to.
Yeah.
So because the hacker's from Wales, that means everyone is from Wales?
I suppose it might not be that. I don't know. As I was reading it, like that's how I kind of speculated. So
I mean, fair enough, I guess,
Yeah.
but that's just strange to come to that conclusion. That's all.
All right. Well, a detective. Fine, then just fuck it. A detective. After looking over a bunch of evidence from a murder victim, writes down a story that we're going to read, likely a scenario that led up to the victim's death. The victim, or the protagonist in the story, watches a weird video on YouTube, notices banging and sounds in his house or in their house that correlate to the video, which appears to be an abandoned asylum in North Wales. This is confirmed when the computer gets hacked and the antivirus software pins the IP address of the hacker to an old asylum address in Northern Wales. Then the victim goes to investigate the noises in their house, finds a dead girl in the closet, and is killed by a creepy figure from the video, fitting the description of Jeff the Killer. When we then get the detective's notes that correlate to their deduction in the story, they themselves then begin hearing strange sounds and seeing odd lights, eventually encounter the figure from the video, which related links seem to indicate a similarity to an online killer, Jeff the Killer, in their home, and after some time is killed by the killer while typing up this report. Then the killer, who states they are Jeff, begins typing themselves to finish off the report, claiming that they have the IPs of everyone who's reading this story and is going to go kill them, and then signs off, and presumably posts this. Finn. So yeah, that's roughly the rundown for the story. So I suppose we'll move on to Tyler Instagram Inquisitions. At this point, I've got a couple here. The video began with a picture of an abandoned mental asylum, later found out to be Denbigh Asylum. So, Denbigh Asylum, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. It's Denbigh. The asylum part, though, isn't capitalized in the story or in the sentence, and it should be because it is actually the name of the place. And yes, it is actually a real abandoned asylum in North Wales, as I checked on Google.
Gotcha.
The next thing I have, I got the vibe that the asylum was hastily abandoned and never cleaned up. So don't get me wrong, I like the word vibe, like in use, like I use it a lot. But I feel if this character writing this story is a detective, they might use sense or impression.
He's like a modern detective, though.
I guess they're a young hip detective.
Of course.
Yeah, because because they all kind of mean the same thing, like sense and impression. I got a hunch. I got I got this vibe going on here.
The first section isn't by a detective.
Is it by the? I mean, it is all by the fucking detective, but like technically.
But the first section isn't a detective note. It's
not. It's
story.
all in first person from the victim.
Oh fuck! See, this is the other problem I was actually having with this story was I kept thinking, like I was kind of confused as to like initially like who the victim or who was the character in the story. Like, was it the detective that they're just writing a story based on thing, and then it finally clicked that like it might actually be like a victim scenario. But like initially,
at the very top.
I don't know why I didn't think about that, but like as I was reading it, I just kept getting confused. So it might just be on me for that, but I don't know.
First line says like after analyzing evidence, witness accounts, and video, blah 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 blah, he developed the story.
Oh, I have a thing for that, like in my actual thoughts, like.
Okay.
Because I was like, again, like when I read that, I was like, what? Like they decided to write the story based on the casework? Like that seems morally dubious. Like they just, but then I started kind of realizing, oh, it's probably they're developing a scenario around the information gathered. But the way it's worded, like they decide this is that, they decide to develop a story. It's like, no, it's not. You wouldn't develop a story. You develop a scenario, it wouldn't be like
on it. Or develop the case on it.
Yeah, like when for me, like or at least like the way I was when diving into the story, the use of story like entails that it's like I don't know. It made me keep thinking it was like they just decided to develop a story, like write this story and then like post it online for people based on like evidence and stuff they've been collecting and like analyzing. It's like it. I understand like in real like detective work that they create like scenarios or they develop like a hypothesis as to like how things like led up to the victim's death. But the way the story was written, describing the detective doing this stuff, it just kind of felt a little too informal to me. Hence why I kept getting this kind of mixed signals of how the character was like developing things in the story. But I will move on to the next thing I have. The creature ran headfirst into the camera. Simultaneously, I heard a very loud bang at the door. There was only one, and it sounded like someone had just run into the door. I jumped up and grabbed a bat again when I heard my computer make an error sound. Okay, so I feel like this is, again, another situation with the story, with its structuring. I feel like there should be some kind of separation here between the video's description of what's happening and then cutting away to the characters in their house. We do get it earlier where like we get the video description stuff and then it cuts down to it separates to another paragraph that describes the in-house situation. But in this particular quote that I gave here, it doesn't do that. Like the last couple of words or the last sentence is basically like part of the same paragraph with the video. So it almost seems like it's still happening in the video, and then suddenly we're at the character's house, and they're experiencing the noises. So it just feels like that last sentence need to be like part of the next sentence or the next paragraph. I mean,
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, so you're keeping the paragraph entirely describing the video, and then when it's not the video, it goes to a new paragraph. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like I'm like today, I'm just like in that vibe of that guy from It All Sunny in Philadelphia, where I'm just like drink, look, have this huge board and just like kind of manic. Do I sound manic to you guys?
A little bit. Not gonna lie.
I sound like a crazed detective, correlating information, collecting details, and formulating a scenario, not a story. I don't know. But I'll move on to the next thing I have here. As I stepped to my door, however, I noticed movement in the window. I immediately attempted to phone police, but got a busy signal. But you are the police, aren't you? This is still the detective, right?
I mean, yes and no.
So again, it's harkening back to like how I was viewing the story, like and like how informal it felt. This is a report this person's like the detective's doing, so I kind of think it should maybe even go like I immediately attempted to phone for backup with my fellow police officers at the station, like something like that. Yeah,
I mean, I guess, yeah. Like
okay.
he is the police, but he could be a private detective, not
That's
like directly working
true.
with the police in the police station. And then at that point, it does make sense.
But isn't there like mention like later on that like he was going to call for backup and then Jeff got him? And finally, I have this for my Grammar Inquisition stuff. I still see bright flashes of light and hear banging noises around my home, along with the rare but still horrifying laughter of which only a true psychotic serial killer can provide. I feel like it should say can produce, not provide. Like, because like when I think
potato, like the same shit.
Yeah, yes and no. Like whenever I hear somebody somebody like screaming or doing like a laughing, like they produce a laugh or they produce a scream, not they don't provide a laugh or provide a scream. So,
Mikey, do you have any strong feelings on this?
No. I mean, but people do provide laughs, so.
Screams.
All right, I guess I'm just in the nitpick nook all day today.
I'm just saying it could go either way.
Fair enough, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, that's all I've got for Grammar Inquisition. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil.
Alright. So mine here is the had a human stance but walked very unusually, most noticeably with its head pointed straight at the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's talking about the
had.
yeah, the had in the video.
Clearly.
Yeah.
So it's maybe the silhouette had a human stance, or
It could even be
something.
they had. But
yeah.
But the thing is, it doesn't even describe what they is yet. It just says there's a movement down there. And then it follows it with this.
Then,
So
yeah,
it needs to actually describe what it is, saying like whatever it was, it had a human stance, or like there was a creature or something who had a human stance. Like it needs to start describing it instead of just saying that it had a human stance when it wasn't described.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then I have a conjunction junction.
Okay.
And next stop, Conjunction Junction. Doot, doot.
It was late at night on a typical Tuesday evening, and soon you will come to live with me. It sounded like someone was dying. It was cold to the touch. It's him. It's not like any of you could catch a demon of my caliber. And it's quite hilarious. It's something else. Finn.
What was it?
Jeff.
I was like so fucking like, what? Wow.
Like, no context or like character swap, so it was just like the one character saying the whole thing.
Yeah, and like at first, like you think it's like, oh, like he's describing some monster, and then it's like, no, he is the monster. No, John, you are the demons.
And these kind of things happen when Mikey grabs all the sentences, throw out a story that start with words that they probably shouldn't, like its, ands, or buts, because there's always better words to use.
Though surprisingly, this story had very few of them.
Yeah, because it's well written, because it's a Jeff the Killer story.
Yeah. But I guess we can move on to the grammar in yellow with the gamer in yellow.
I only got one left. I jumped up and grabbed the bat again when I heard my computer make an error sound. So I feel like there's an unnecessary comma in there. right after again, where it could just be I jumped up and grabbed my bat again when I heard my computer make an error sound. It doesn't need a break in the middle.
I think it does. Or I think it needs needs something different there, because it's like he's jumping up to grab his bat for the second time or however time, but then his computer.
No, he does it when he heard the computer make the error sound. I jumped up and grabbed my bat again when I heard my computer make an error sound. He's grabbed the bat when the computer made the sound.
See, I didn't read it that way. I read it like
that's the way it is.
No, it isn't. Like he's grabbing his bat again because he's hearing a noise out of like in his house. But then and he was doing that when his computer screen lit up again. Like just as kind of thing is how I kind of saw it, but
I read it the way that it's spelled. I don't know, man. It says he grabbed the bat when he heard the computer make the error sound.
He didn't grab his bat when he heard that sound.
He didn't grab it because he heard the sound. He grabbed it in reaction to the noises, but when he grabbed it happened to be when the computer made the error sound.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like he went to grab the bat for the other noises. But like the when almost shouldn't even be there. It should be but then the computer made the sound. Or he was like his attention switched from like the sounds out beyond his house or like somewhere in his house to his computer because it was making that error sound.
I mean, those also work, yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the only one I got left.
So we'll move on to actual thoughts. So I'm going to start with this one here, which was always, I'm just going to preface this. I was already having a weird time of this. So this is just stacking on to like my critical silly levels for the story as I was taking notes. So just FYI. Okay. None of the characters were of the English language. However, the shapes of the characters seemed to resemble words. Although I couldn't quite decipher them. Curious, I clicked on the video. So I can surmise that by characters they meant letters used in the title card of the video.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how I saw it for the first few seconds of reading that part. I imagined it being people in the video that looked like words.
Okay.
I don't know.
You're supposed to have the critically silly stuff now.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why I preface. It's like I was already had a story because I kept seeing silly bits and like it was just kind of coming. It was coming out very strange to me as I was reading the story. So,
well, for me, I took this very mundane. It's like, well, you're just explaining how different languages work.
I mean, yes, also that.
Like I've seen YouTube videos that have like fucked up characters in the title, so like that is a thing that can actually be done too.
I understand. Yeah, I know. But for some reason I immediately I visualized it as just being people as characters on the title card that looked like words, and I was horrified. I'll move on to the next thing I have here. And Mikey, I'm probably gonna need your help with this one. The computer then blue screened at that point, saying it shut down for safety reasons. The screen then proceeded to make note of the fact that an unknown hacker had been obtaining information about my whereabouts. My antivirus program ran a trace of the hacker's IP address and came back with a city in northern Wales. Specifically, the hack had been made from an abandoned mental asylum. That's not... Mikey, understand this? What is wrong?
Yeah, it's wrong. The order of events and also the antivirus tracking or doing a trace.
Yeah.
Basically hacking the hacker.
Yeah. He's counter hacking.
So I have notes on this.
Good.
So at the very beginning, the computer blue screens.
Yes.
When a computer blue screens, you can't do anything. It's done.
Yeah.
It shuts down. So there would be no antivirus to show up and say anything. So to fix this, you have to say that the antivirus caught something. And antiviruses do say blocked traffic from a specific IP address potentially, but it's not going to look up that IP address and then tell you where it came from.
That's a you thing.
Maybe he'd have to like go on his phone or something, or
try and use like some because I'm sure there's like some online browser or something that like app that you can get to trace an IP, right? Or but like maybe not as specific as what he's saying, like specifically this mental asylum in Northern Wales.
Yeah, it's not going to be that specific at all.
Probably like
magic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's techno-babbly shit.
Yeah, so there's if they'd had the antivirus thing before the blue screen, I would have given this potentially a pass.
Yeah,
but the fact that the
does
blue
its
screen
thing,
happens,
and then I was gonna say like if the weird hack shit happens, and then the antivirus does its thing, and then as soon as it finds like, oh, it's from the asylum, and then it cuts the blue screen, that would still be like weird technobabble magic that's happening, but at least it would make sense.
Yeah.
Because as it is, the blue screen happens, which sounds like he like reboots his computer back up, gets everything working again, and then sits down and does all this information gathering while the creepy noises are happening behind him.
Yeah.
Which is strange.
Yeah, because like the supernatural element of like things happening in the video are happening in the victim's home kind of thing. Like that aspect was cool to me, but it was techno-babbly with all this stuff, and it was just not hitting like the right tones for me with that. And like you're saying, it's like Peter blue screened and died, but then came back and told him that he was being hacked.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time you can turn them back on. It's not just gonna melt it immediately, but it is weird.
All right, I'm used to like I've never really I think I've had to deal with like a blue screen like once, and it was like
it's basically just a forced shut off, is what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, that is just like I read this part and I was like, no. I'm just going to write down a note here, literally in my notes. Mikey, how much, if not all of this is wrong? That's literally in my notes. Just like, I need Mikey's help. Help, I need an adult. This creepypasta. But I'm here, which is... Yes, you were helpful because you basically like helped clarify what I already suspected. With that, everything you just said, everything you just wrote is wrong. Like I was like pretty sure like a blue screen of death is a blue screen of death that doesn't like give you messages telling you that the computer's been hacked. I was pretty sure that like antivirus software, no matter like maybe police force, like the police department antivirus software or something, or some kind of software they have would be able to allow you to trace a hacker's IP and stuff like that. But even then I'm like suspect about that. Like, is that just movie logic or TV show logic?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, no, this doesn't feel right at all. I need to consult my local demonic IT guy. But I'll move on to the next thing. And actually, so we were kind of like combating each other, me and Gamer, earlier about like where my assumption that it was in the UK because of the North Wales thing. But I actually do have another theory as where this all takes place. I'm going to start with this quote here. We have confirmed that the hacking came from the abandoned mental hospital. However, there is no explanation as to how this was timed so close together. We have issued an arrest warrant, but no officer wants to enter the ruins in fear of his or her life. That's okay. Whatever. Police procedures aren't my forte, but so far as like these local authorities are concerned, they're doing a terrible job. This is clearly Derpland's finest. Yeah, I was like, this takes place in Derpland. Like, none of this makes sense. And I feel like some of that is honestly just like the person who wrote this is using TV show, cop show logic for some stuff.
Mhm.
The problem with that whole thing that you read is just the fact that no one wanted to go in and investigate. Like,
Yeah.
not a single person. Why?
Yeah, like
Explain why.
Yeah, like I got the impression like they don't want to go in because like ghosts or like haunted or something like that along those lines. But like they're police officers, their whole job is risk. Like you're paid to go into places like this.
Mhm.
And like you could describe going in, like have it like a freaking SCP entry thing where it's like this is what happens basically when they went in. This is what they saw.
Yeah,
And have like another perspective go through. So it actually could have been a good way to get more content out of this.
yeah. If it had been like an actual formal police report or like SCP stuff report kind of thing, but
Mm-hmm.
then the next thing I have here is numerous murders like this have occurred since, and every single one of the victims has been noted to watch the video a few minutes before the homicide is committed. Before the homicide is committed. So this story tried to add a Ringu style element to Jeff the Killer, like you watch a video and you die like sometime after watching the video. That would actually be kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. In theory, that could be a really cool ability to give Jeff the Killer. But the way it's handled with the police procedural details here is so sloppy to me. I think this story might have been better served if it was just a story and not like a constructed scenario by a police detective. Like, get rid of the police detective stuff, like the police procedural stuff, like from the POV of the police and stuff like that. Like, have the story just be a third person creepypasta story rather than a first person kind of thing. Because like that's not doing it for me at all, like as a reader. Like I'm poking so many holes into the story as I'm reading the story because of that. And it's pulling me out of it constantly. Yeah, I think like there's really cool elements in the story, but it's just like the attempt at the POV of the police procedural stuff is not working. Like, if you're going to do that kind of stuff, you need to like maybe do a little bit of research onto like how police conduct stuff, and rather than just make it up, because then it sounds like you're making it up.
I hear you, but it wasn't like atrociously done. And if they did what you suggest and just make it a third person like story, there's a million Jeff the Killer stories that are like that. It would just be bland. There'd be nothing unique about it. That's one of the reasons that I give this a partial, is because it does shit that none of the other ones do, or at least it tries to. It actually puts some effort in.
I guess I can give it like that. Like, at least it's trying, but like it, to me, like it needed to do better. Like, I wasn't angry. I was just kind of disappointed. But I'll move on to the next thing. This one's gonna be a little bit sillier. YouTube officials have tried to remove the video. However, every moderator that tries ends up getting brutally murdered. The case is still unsolved. I know. But YouTube officials, it meant to be like the IT staff or the moderators that are at the YouTube offices and such.
It says moderators.
I know it said that, so, but like when it said YouTube officials, all I could think of was like the YouTube police.
I mean, that's what they are.
Yes, but like I literally thought that they had like badges and shit like that. They had like the red with the triangle. It's like the vegan police from Scott Pilgrim. I was going critically silly at this point. I was descending down a maddening spiral of critically silly for the story as I was reading it. So I kept reading things like that. My next one here, although this is a JPEG image and thus by nature is a still image, rumor has it that if you stare into the picture long enough, the image begins to twist and contort. Continue staring, and you can see a creature beginning to run towards the camera. Okay, I like that idea. Don't get me wrong. That's a cool element, again. It's a little smile doggish. A little bit more smile dog than Jeff the Killer, but I'll allow it. Also, just saying, it would have been really cool if because the image is actually there, like the JPEG is actually in the story. As is another one that shows like the old like Jeff the Killer kind of meme photo of like the iconic face of Jeff the Killer in the dark, and then go to sleep in broad red letters. But we do get a JPEG image of a mental asylum like hallway, and I just think it would be really cool if the story had gone like another, taken another step and made a GIF that like had like a delay. And so if you stare at the story long enough, then there's like an animated jump scare.
Yeah, it's like a GIF where like it's a still image for like a solid 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and then it goes as he rushes up to you and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Or even one that's like triggered by like scrolling past it or like close. Like if you scroll on it and stays there long enough, it'll actually activate the GIF. I know there's some webtoons and some like web comics from like Korea or Vietnam that do that kind of stuff, like horror ones, where like you're reading the story, like, and then you scroll up and it triggers like one of the panels is actually a GIF that's embedded in the site. So as you're scrolling up, and suddenly the you're looking at a character like from behind, and then their head just twists around, and they're like a horrible ghost face.
Yes.
That's a classic internet like horror thing. That webcomic, but yeah, like I think that kind of like a GIF prop would have been like really kind of cool to implement in this situation because of how you're describing this image. If you stare at it long enough, things are going to change in it. And even I did even find myself like staring at the image a couple of times, like for a few moments, just to see like maybe can actually see anything in the image. And like you don't really see like a figure or anything like that in the darkness unless I was just not looking long enough. But yeah, it's a decent enough image of and it does definitely get across the description of in the story. So I wish it would have been like a GIF prop.
Yeah, honestly, I kind of scrolled past it fast just in case it was.
You're like, I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm a scared.
But I'll move on to the next thing here. For further reading, simply search Jeff the Killer online and read at your own risk. Not because it'll come and get you and kill you, just because most of the stories aren't good. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was my my attempt at humor. I'll be here all night until somebody pulls me off the stage. Move on to my next one here. So this is when Jeff the Killer himself like kills the detective and starts typing his own thing. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff. My name is Jeff. I don't like that this story is being published, but oh well. So don't post it. Obviously, it's still in the phase where it's being written, and it hasn't gone.
Yes, it has.
How?
This is the second entry. It says like, okay, there's so he put out the first thing, and then there's Detective Note, and he did all this shit, and then it comes up with Detective Note 2. So that's him adding to the story.
Okay. See, fuck! I did not realize that's what the Detective Note. I thought the Detective Note stuff was just like the information that they provided to like why they how they constructed that story previously. I didn't realize those were like those notes, like literally detectives' notes, like editor's notes sort of situation.
Yeah, for all we know, this is the third entry because like he put the first one out, and then he did Detective Note, and then Detective Note 2. Because
why? That makes so much more sense. Yeah, no, I'm so stupid.
Because like
why?
I don't know why you're so stupid, but like it goes detective note 1 and then 2. There's no point of having it 2 if it was just all one detective note. The fact it's split up,
Oh, you're
like,
right.
absolutely says that's what it is.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Fuck.
I can't believe
hate
I'm
it.
defending Jeff so much.
I know. Just as planned. But yeah, okay, that makes actually perfect sense. Like, cause like, oh God, I just assumed the detectives' notes were like, again, just information they were providing to kind of correlate their story, not that they were Oh my God.
I mean, they are also that, but I saw
Yeah.
it as timestamps too.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they weren't like this wasn't all posted at the same time. It was posted in increments. Hence why Jeff. Oh, I'm just gonna leave now. Goodbye, guys.
So the only
No.
part that's like of question is why Jeff finished the most recent one, which I assume is just because like the information's already out there. So fuck it, I'm just gonna call out all these people now.
Yeah.
And tell them that, oh, great, you're reading this. I'm using that to target you now.
Yeah, I'm getting your IPs right now. Speaking of, that's actually my next quote in comments. So, and it's quite hilarious because in viewing this document, I have logged every single one of your IP addresses and know exactly where you are. For example, one of you works at a cousin's on Drexel Boulevard. One of you lives in Burbank. One of you lives on East Avenue. One of you goes to university and has a roommate named Becky. One of you is going to Iowa. One of you is part of a podcast that reviews such silly stories. I wish I wish you would story if that had actually been like one of the things.
Awesome.
One of you has a podcast. I was like, what? Like that, I would be completely seen, and the story would be completely redeemed, but it didn't happen. Yeah, honestly, like I think this could be a really fun, creepy gotcha thing, because like someone reading this story somewhere out there who's read this story in the past or maybe even in the future, reading this story might happen to fall into situations that this creepypasta is calling out, and from a creepypasta connoisseur standpoint, I feel like that would be incredibly key for that person.
Like, if you know anyone who fills those roles perfectly, just send it to them.
Yeah, exactly. If I know
don't
somebody
care,
from Burbank,
automatic recommendation to anyone who fills those roles.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm adding a conditional to my non-recommendations. Like,
yeah,
if you know somebody, like from one of the locations or one of the situations, absolutely send them this story to read.
Yeah.
And then what they text you back after they've read it is like, did you write this? Because they think that
it's like, no, I didn't even read it yet. Is it good? Any good? That's how you absolutely have to respond.
Yeah. Now that said, the angle, does it make sense? Again, I'm consulting my demonic IT wizard.
I mean, IP every day, so it makes sense.
Well, the thing is, IP addresses are technically tied to buildings, but you have to have like the internet service provider provide you with the address. So, it's sort
regardless. An IP address isn't gonna let you know who your roommate is, or where you. It's still magic going on here.
Yeah, it is definitely still supernatural elements in there. Yeah. Yeah, again, this is definitely pulling Jeff the Killer into like digital horror, like as opposed to analog horror, where it's using the digital mediums with a supernatural bend.
So is he a Digimon now?
Oh my god.
Digital monster.
Jeffremon. Digivolve to Killermon. I might have to draw that now. God damn it, gamer.
No, he digivolved into the into Nightmare Slumber, which is the username of the uploader of the video.
Yes. Yeah, Nightmare Slumbermon. Yeah, no, so Jeffremon is like the rookie, or is the smallest form. Jeffmon is the rookie form. killer form or killer mon is the champion form, I think, and then the ultimate form is night slumber mon.
I love how stupid.
And then the mega evolution is go to sleep mon. It's just like it's just go like all caps all combined go to sleep, and then like mon is like lowercase.
God, and the actual mon is just the words go to sleep. So then there's your like word-based creature situation that you had earlier.
Yeah, it's just like go to sleep made into like a creature. It's just got like arms and legs and a knife.
Yeah, all the letters are made of blades.
Yeah, and it's in that like red impact font.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh God, we're
pretty dumb.
Yeah, we are pretty dumb. I've been pretty dumb today, specifically, so it checks out.
That's my job.
Yeah.
You took my job.
And speaking of dumb, I'm going to finish off with this last of my actual thoughts. The banging isn't the building you reside in. It's something else, something quite sinister. Your mom. Mic drop. Yeah, no, legitimately, that's what I fucking thought as I read that part.
Really?
Just like your
I mean, I shouldn't be
mom.
surprised at this point.
I don't know why, but the story was like, it was kind of like just coming off to me really dumb, so I just decided to get dumb with it.
It almost sounded like you're enjoying the story. That's why you're having fun with it.
Listen, you can have fun with the story and not have the story be good. It like The Room by Tommy Wiseau has proven that you can have fun with a dumb piece of medium.
Mm-hmm. Dumb but
That's all I
enjoyable.
got.
That's what a very small selection of Jeff the Killer stories are.
Yeah. I'm done for actual thoughts. Game or Mikey, whoever, you're up.
All right, let's see here. My first actual thought here that hasn't been talked about yet. I impatiently clicked the video 4 more times in an attempt to bring it up. That doesn't actually help it load.
No.
It just restarts the request and potentially makes it take longer to load.
But I mean, a lot of people that are impatient, I can attest, do that because they're like frustrated. So it is sort of a realistic like thing to do, depending on the person. But also, yes, you're right. It actually doesn't actually really do anything.
It actually would have been better if he was just hitting F5 a few times to actually refresh the page.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So my next actual thought. The darkness of the corridor was of pure black, the likes of which I had never seen. To which my response is, this is a video on a monitor. Have you never looked at your monitor when it was off?
That's the darkest it can go.
Yeah.
Unless he's describing that the video is supernaturally dark at that point.
Yeah. The screen is so dark, it's Vanta black. Which is the darkest I think a black can get.
It might be possible that that's what it's trying to get across. The fact that it's darker than even the monitor is when it's off because some weird supernatural shit going on right now.
Yeah. It's just like wherever it is, it just creates some dead pixels.
Yeah. All right. Then my next or last actual thought here. I ran back up to my computer to see if I could hook it up to a generator to ask for help that way, when I noticed that the computer screen was still on. To which my response is, one does not simply hook up a generator to a computer.
Yeah, no.
As far as I know, because I don't personally own a generator, if you want to use a generator, you go outside and you start it, and it's fueled by gas. So it has to be outside.
Yeah.
So him going up to his computer, I don't think that there's a way to start a outside generator from inside, because it sounds like he went up to his bedroom or wherever the hell his computer is to like flip a switch to turn the generator on, which I don't think is how that works.
He has to hook it up still. So it's not even hooked up to anything. Like, does it have gas? Like, where's he getting this generator from?
Yeah. Like what's funny is like real life talk, like my family actually owns a couple of generators now because of all the power outages we've been getting recently, like specifically up at our cottage. And I wish I had looked at it a little bit more closely at those because like I think they had to plug that into the cottage or into the building's like system.
Yeah.
I don't think there's actually any like I don't think they have any plugins for like appliances. They might, like more modern ones might nowadays, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the generator just gives power to the house?
Yep. It hooks into the power panel of your house. And basically you flip a switch so that you're on generator and not the grid, so that you don't feed it back into the grid, because that would be stupid.
Yeah. It's a real good way to
go outside, flip that switch, or go into the basement or whatever, flip the switch to pick the like what's giving the power, and then go outside and start it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not go up to his computer.
And then hook it up.
Well, he can bring up this hookup. Does he say like he has to hook up his computer?
Yeah, I ran back up to my computer to see if I could hook it up to a generator.
When really it's just he's hooking up the generator to his house or to his apartment or whatever, so that he has power to any of his appliances that are plugged in.
What is planned? Okay, we don't have information on what type of computer it is. Maybe it's a laptop that's just plugged in. At that point, it would have battery actually, so that doesn't matter. Never mind, I'm going to shut up. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. And that's the end of my actual thoughts.
All right. Gamer, be the shred of light of hope. This story.
I will do that. So first off, I technically read this story twice.
What?
Because, okay, I was having a bad day. On the day that I was going to read this.
Yeah.
And then like I opened up, I'm like, fuck, it's a Jeff story I have to read. So I started reading, and I read the first sentence, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to fucking read this right now. And I took a break, and then I went back to it. It's like,
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I read like the first. I think I got like halfway through I think I got through the first page, at like one night, and I was like, I need to stop. I can't focus on this right now, and I waited till the next day to do it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So,
but yes, so I came back to it later, and then I'm like, gosh, I wonder if I should even bother reading this, because like we've been joking that this whole time I haven't been actually reading the stories, and I've just been like formulating notes based off of the rundown and stuff like that, and coming to my own conclusions by the end. So then I was like, you know what? What if I just read the first sentence of every paragraph? So I did that. My first read of the story was I read the first sentence of every paragraph and read all the way down, and I got it. Like, fully reading the story after that didn't change much. Like,
wow.
It pretty much made sense going through the first time. There was some stuff that obviously didn't make sense because I didn't have context to the like, I'm always watching you and soon you'll come to live with me thing and stuff like that, because I didn't know. I thought it was Jeff saying it. I assumed it was, but it was actually the description. But like, yeah, it was an interesting first read doing it that way. And even with that first read, I'm like, it's like okay for Jeff standards, ish.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, it is okay. It's okay for Jeff standards. That's a low bar. Like, that's
it is. It's
round,
a very low bar.
That's on the floor, low bar.
Yeah. As long as you can climb over the like width of the bar, you're good.
And you know what? I will give it this. It's not a fucking origin story for Jeff.
Yes.
It's during his career.
His career. I mean, I guess that's right.
It's during his killing career.
Mm-hmm.
Which is always kind of refreshing, because like so many of these Jeff the Killer stories that we've covered over the years have just been like retellings or like attempts to make the origin story better.
Yeah.
And like very few of them are like actually go into detail about like his life after becoming the killer.
Yeah. This one's like, we don't need to tamper with diamonds. His origin story is perfect. We'll just move on.
Except we're also going to add a few abilities that he has now, like
Yeah.
able to affect people. You die. You watch a video, you die in a couple of minutes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So, with that out of the way, the second read through, I read through the whole story and formulated my notes after that. So, moving on to my actual notes. When it says like, I'm always watching you, and soon you'll come to live with me, ellipses, forever, ellipses. So when I read that, I'm like, so Jeff just wants a roommate now? Like, he used to be a random killer guy, but now he has some sort of objective. He wants people to live with him.
He's lonely.
Like, yeah, it almost feels like a Krampus situation, I guess, but like said in a really lame way, because like with the ellipses and all that, it's almost like he said, like ellipses, and then you like continue by saying forever. It's almost like I said, he just wants you to move in, but then he remembers he has to make it sound creepy, so then he adds like forever. It was kind of
This is
silly.
actually a buddy horror.
Yeah, totally.
He just wants a buddy. He just wants a roommate. Also, when you describe this Krampus, is like, Krampus takes the kids and eats them, right?
I thought he keeps I thought he keeps them like prisoner there.
Oh, he might torture some of them. He does. Yeah, generally, like I think in the myths, he takes the children and eats them, or sends them to hell.
Oh, okay. Which sounds like a permanent place of residence.
Yeah, but like hell. I mean, also I just love the Krampus thing. It's like, oh, Santa Claus. Like if you're naughty, you get coal. Krampus, if you're naughty, you go to hell. You go to hell and you die. Yeah,
I'll move on from there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, my next one is about the hacking stuff. I basically chimed in with everything, but the one other thing is like it would be even harder nowadays to track down like the IP of a hacker, or hell, of hackers to even get your IP and stuff because of VPNs now. Like everyone can get a VPN very easily.
Just like our sponsor, NordVPN. No.
And one other thing that I forgot to bring up.
Oh,
an abandoned asylum shouldn't have an internet connection.
Yeah, or it would be like a remote, like something that you'd like, you can like take on the go kind of a thing. But
he made his phone a data hotspot or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. Yeah, like, but like the asylum itself would not have like a like. I've seen images of this place.
It would have a GPS coordinate thing for location.
Yeah, again, research might need to be used. It might need to be employed to better this story a little bit for real.
The fact that it has Wi-Fi and everything makes it creepy because it's supernatural.
It's supernatural
tech in this. It really is supernatural tech in this.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Like it's very much like a digital horror, like a Ghost in the Machine sort of angle with Jeff. But
it's either intentionally supernatural, like technology, or unintentionally just through lack of research.
Yeah. Honestly, I could also even see like this again, like not making this gameable, but like I could see like this kind of thing being used, like you're playing characters that are like IT staff for YouTube, trying to get this like shut this thing down, but you keep like there's been some recent like deaths in your office, and like it surrounds around like trying to shut down this one video that's some poster put it on. Because it's got like some like weird curse or spell, or there's a spirit behind it, or a demon like infecting this one video. It's like, yeah, how the fuck do like IT staff deal with that? Had to perform a digital exorcism.
Yeah, they just burn the servers.
It's just that scene from Free Guy where he just takes the axe to the server.
Yep.
Like, so one way to take this down, take Jeff down, just burn it all.
Yeah, I'll move on from there. Okay. Next one, like I found it kind of convenient when the power went out. Like it went out the moment he got a trace to find out that it's coming from an abandoned asylum. That's weird. It's like a little too convenient. And if Jeff was actually out there trying to get in to murder him, what took him so long? Did he have to like find the circuit breaker in the basement or something like that before he went to get him?
See, I can see it being like the power and stuff. Just he was finding out the information. It's just sort of like a cat and mouse sort of game. It's like he's playing with his food. Like it's like now time to amp up the atmosphere.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Because he is very theatrical in this, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got his own YouTube video. Come on, like he's oh my god, Jeff the Killer's a digital demon
YouTuber.
content creator. Yeah, YouTuber.
Yeah, he's a YouTuber.
Son of a bitch. Really cool. Like legitimately, like some of the ideas in the story are like kind of interesting and like borderline to me really cool, but just the execution wasn't really good for me. But I've already said my piece.
Yeah, I wonder how like they would expand on if they were actually pushing for it being YouTube-y, where it's like he has like a channel with like 100 videos on it, all of the murders, but they can't like hide the videos or delete them or anything.
Yeah,
He's got too strong. We have to delete him from the servers.
We can't. Like we need to get rid of this. We need to destroy the server. The servers are all infected. We need to burn down the building.
Oh, I was referencing the South Park Make Love Not Warcraft.
Oh,
we have to delete him from the servers.
Yeah.
We can't. He kills all of our admins. It's gotten too powerful.
How do you kill that which has no life? Mm-hmm. We need the sword of 1,000 truths. Oh. Oh god. Oh man. Like I know we're being really silly here, and like this is like we're quoting South Park, god damn it. But like legitimately, like I want to run a game that's kind of like that. Yeah.
Seems
or just time commando it up and just like you're the special IT forces of like of YouTube that have to like go into VR and like go into the Matrix to deal. Oh god, this is a fucking Shadowrun scenario, isn't it? Sorry, Mikey.
It's just all in the Matrix.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you're hunting down a ghost in the machine or like a Matrix sprite that's killing people, that's somehow manifesting into the real world and killing people that like listen that watch his Tridio video series. Wow. Also, Jeff the Killer. If it is like Jeff the Killer's YouTube channel would definitely be just called Just the Kittens to avoid getting demonetized for having killer in it.
Oh, you don't think the videos of murders are going to get him demonetized?
I know. Yeah, it's definitely like they're getting monetized by like demonic sponsors.
McDonald's and stuff like that,
or NordVPN. Oh no!
Wow.
And any chance of us
now we're never getting it.
Oh god, yeah. So I just love the idea. It's like, hey, it's your boy Jeff the Killer. Kill this asshole. It's like a super like just like a Logan Paul or fucking.
It's like a punk thing, but he stabs.
Yeah, just like one or like Phase. Like I think there's a character, but one of those YouTubers that like just buys a house in like California and just like turns it into their party house while recording like YouTube content. God. Yeah, where were we?
And then this one. So this is like after some of the creepy stuff starts happening. It says a piercing scream then ran out. It sounded like someone was dying. I raced to the kitchen and drew 2 knives. This is no time for art. Oh, out of the drawer. He drew 2 knives out of the drawer. Sorry. That's my bad.
Okay. Legitimately, I was like a split second behind you on realizing what you were referencing. I was like, wait,
yeah.
What? It's like, oh, and then you actually like clarify. It's like, oh fuck, I am so goddamn stupid today.
It's fine. Yeah. Next one is the end of the Nair character of his story. It says, I froze in fear. With one sudden movement, almost as if I was watching a video that had skipped a few frames, the figure twisted its head and looked at me. Then everything went black. So Nair clearly survived, right? Because this is a first-person account that was told to a detective.
No. Like I said earlier, like the person, like the detective, collected all this information from the case. And has constructed. That's what I thought was this story. He constructed this story or this scenario of how this victim died based on the information they had. So this is really just he's attempting to reconstruct the circumstances leading up to the victim's death.
Why would it be in first person? He would be doing it in third person.
That was my problem this whole fucking time. Is like the story, like that's why I was getting so confused, because like it sounds like the wraparound stuff. It sounds like the detectives correlating a story, like constructing a scenario and a story based on evidence. But then he goes into like legitimate a first person perspective story that from the victim's POV.
Yeah, which sounds like he got the account from the attack. Meanwhile, right after it says, detectives note, the victim's body was found in a similar state to that of the young girl in the closet.
Yeah, which so it wasn't like an account. It was just a like, again, he reconstructed it. Like it's all speculation. everything in that story that we read was all speculation from the detective, and just like surmising based off the evidence he had of what the victim went through.
Yeah, unless the victim, well, he did say he put this together through like surveillance and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But like the only surveillance stuff he has is the stuff, or I assume is from the stuff in this first person story that he put together. Because otherwise, like, why would he? What I'm trying to get at is, the victim, if his house had surveillance inside and out, then and the detective has access to those video recordings, he could have watched all that and then put it together in a first person perspective to try to get in the head of this kid and how he got killed, and then he took that and put that into the story. Yes. As like, this is what I think happened, this is what I'm assuming this guy thought or whatever at the moment.
Yeah.
So maybe if it was described like that earlier on, it would make a little bit more sense, because it does say that, like, what's the actual wording? Following story was written by a detective whom, after analyzing video evidence, witness accounts, there were no witnesses, and and the video to have been watched, developed a story.
Okay, so there was a video. It's weird that it was first person rather than third person, because like, again, like if you're a detective, why are you the character? I guess maybe, again, like you said, to get into the head of the character. But I feel like in this kind of situation, it should have been third person.
Yeah. It does say, like, witness, though. I wonder if that Nair is actually a witness and he did somehow survive.
I mean, like,
the victim that's referring to is some other victim that's there. I don't know.
I think the eyewitness stuff could have also just been like maybe neighbors that like heard stuff.
Maybe, yeah. But I don't know. It's kind of left ambiguous to all that for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I was like having such a hard time with the story, and why I kind of went a little goofy with it, is because like the way it's constructed, it was just like kind of off to me, like how a detective should do up a speculative like scenario for like their victim. But
it is a little different, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily wrong. I've been slowly watching the entirety of the Monk series, and he is the weirdest of detectives. So
yes, again, that's also TV cop stuff, but like, which isn't always the same as like regular cop stuff. But
obviously,
yeah.
But as with most like action and murdery kind of creepypastas and stuff, they're usually based off of movie and TV logic compared to actual logic.
True. I love how we're trying to counter each other on this. Like it's now like the tables have been flipped, because like I'm defending about the story for not being any good, and you're trying to defend it for being good.
Yes,
or being better than yeah.
But I'll move on from there.
Yeah.
Despite numerous blood tests, we cannot identify the girl. In fact, due to the lack of a missing persons report, the fact that no one came forward to claim her remains or try to solve the case of the murder, and because no blood test matched anyone we tested, it seemed the girl never really existed. So as soon as I read that, I'm like, what the fuck? So I suppose Jeff is murdering through different realities and times now? Because how else would that be explained?
Bad writing. I hate to say.
You have to stop. Okay, no. You have to give this more credit than you're giving it. You're just shitting on it for no reason.
I'm not shitting it for no reason. Like I do feel like the way that was written, like I didn't even like add this in my notes, but like they like nobody in like that they tested like matched the blood. The way that was written, it seemed really off to me. I feel like it should have been like nobody on their in their archives, or like in the, because like that's like the like police department and stuff like that, or like of a state or of whatever country or whatever, usually had like DNA like archives, right? Or like DNA database of some kind.
Listen, the whole point of this here is that girl that was murdered in the closet did not belong in this reality. She does not exist in this reality. She's either from a different reality or a different time period.
Okay.
So
fair.
it's explaining out without saying it. If you read between the lines, as you always say to me.
Fucking dare you toss my own arguments at me.
I will. That he is a time jumping or dimension hopping murderer at this point through his evolutions. That's his power that he's gotten now.
Sure, yeah. All right. I do want to put, like, I'm not trying to shit on the story for like the sake of shitting on it. It's just like I'm criticizing it for some of the things that I felt like when I was reading the story. But again, like you are bringing up, like, yeah, like maybe it is just like the character is now like we're getting this thing where like he's pulling victims from other realities.
He clearly has some sort of magic shit going on, because he can just teleport to anyone through a video that he put on the internet that he inscribed with some sort of magic doohickey of some kind that lets him open a fucking portal that he literally runs through in the video and then shows up at the front door.
He has to get a certain speed to get through the
yeah, it's going 88 miles an hour.
Yeah. Da, 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 da.
And then face first.
Oh, yeah. All right, I will stop I will stop shitting on the story, as you say.
I mean, I'm running out of notes, so you're gonna have to anyways. So the next part is the image can be found below in regards to the corridor image. View at your own risk. Your life may be at stake. What a good detective, trying to keep everyone safe by putting the image on the internet, even more than it already is, to let people see it and die to it.
Derplin's finest.
This is one of those instances where it would make more sense to not show it, and because you could very easily explain why he doesn't want to show it to people.
Yeah,
because he's killing people.
Yeah, exactly. Like this person has like killed multiple people, including people who have tried to get the video removed from like their servers. Like,
yeah,
like this is clearly like some kind of like epidemic or something. It's some kind of like crisis.
It's a cool image and everything, and I like that we have the visual of it so we know what he watched, but it doesn't make sense that we would have it, at least in a pure form like this. Maybe if the screenshot that is put on the Creepypasta website is a picture that he took with his phone of his own like PC monitor displaying the image, like at a weird angle or something, trying to like distort it so it's not here's the full high res image, to like try to like mitigate the ability for Jeff to go through it by having multiple different layers of distortion on it. That would make a little bit more sense, but just to get the full image seems wrong.
Yeah. It's because I think the story even does say something about like even though this is a JPEG, look at your own risk. Like, then why did you post it? Like, put it there. Like, if it's going to be harmful, like if it's going to be like one of those like cognito hazards that like the SCP likes throwing around, like that term, like why would you show that to the public?
One thing that might have been cool is just have him sketch it out, do an artist rendition of it. It looked like this. I can't show you the actual image because the actual image apparently brings Jeff into your home.
Yeah.
I had a D class stare at this for 4 hours and you're fine. It's safe.
Yeah, we're really just like pulling as like Jeff the Killer's an SCP entry.
And then my next one you kind of touched on. Basically, it says the most frightening aspect, however, is the image provided for Jeff the Killer is the exact same as the image provided by witnesses for the Denbigh asylum killer, leading investigators to believe that they are in fact the same person. For further reading, simply search Jeff the Killer online and read at your own risk. So I kind of applaud this story for wrapping this up with literally every other Jeff story and making it make sense, quote unquote. Like it's connected to all of them in one way or another because it's the same person.
Yeah, like it's some kind of like a mimetic spirit that lingers in it. The more you know about it, the more it can affect you. Oh my god, it is a cognito virus or a cognito hazard. Again, it really is just Jeff is back is just an SCP story where and we just need to like classify Jeff as an SCP entry.
And then next one, he says, okay, this part, I hate the way he words it. He being the detective. So I'm going to agree with you on his derpy detectiveness here. I don't know how much longer it will be until we catch him. But if he keeps making these mistakes, then we'll have a solid identity and an airtight case. So I feel like the detective should be more skeptical on the fantastical aspect of Jeff's like power here, because like, and like bringing up ways to mundanify it, because as it stands, he witnesses others and himself see unexplainable events, but the detective doesn't question them or rationalize them. So him saying we'll have a solid identity and an airtight case is kind of ridiculous, like because he's not trying to catch a human level serial killer, and he knows it, but he's trying to like get an identity on him and get like evidence against him, like he's trying to convict a normal felon, but he's not, and he knows he's not, but he's still doing it that way.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Also, so I will bring something to light that I'm just realizing about the story that you've kind of brought up and has made me realize this Jeff the Killer isn't necessarily Jeffrey Woods like from all the other stories. This is a tulpa. Which is basically a creature or an entity that's created out of again like a cognito hazard thing where it's like the more you know about the thing, the more it becomes real. So like this Jeff, what?
It's like a belief entity.
Yeah, exactly. It's a belief entity. It's basically so again, by linking people to like go check out those other stories, he's actually making this Jeff stronger. This entity, this creature, like so. This could be technically set in our world, or like a similar world where all the other Jeff the Killer stories are just stories, but there is an entity that has come out of all those stories and all the belief or all the readings of Jeff the Killer stories and media that is now in like computers or in like other media that can infect through like those kind of vectors.
So you're saying us doing like reviews on Jeff stories making the Jeff spirit stronger? Well, I guess we got to stop doing the Jeff stories then, right? We have to stop now.
No, we press on regardless of the dangers to humanity and life and limb.
I gotta try.
Yeah,
can't blame me for trying. Yeah. But I think you were going to say, like, you kind of like that, though?
Yeah, like, again, there's a bunch of stuff in this story I did enjoy, like, ideas and stuff that I did enjoy. It's just, for me, the writing was not working. Like, the way things were written and stuff, and the way things were, like, actually, like, being put down to paper, as it were, digital or no. Just, it wasn't hitting me, like, but, like, I liked the ideas that it was invoking. But, yeah.
Okay, we get to, Jeff like talking to the reader at the end.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about how like you should start hearing odd noises and feel a sense of fear and dysphoria wash over you. As soon as I read that, I'm like, maybe like I would if I didn't have to Google dysphoria. Like it means unease, but like I didn't know it off the top of my head because I don't hear the word dysphoria all the fucking time. So maybe in the future, Jeff, speak in simpler terms when you're threatening a large group of people, because that way everyone will actually get your threat.
Dysphoria, my favorite TV show drama about teens. Legitimately, there's a TV show recently that was made called Dysphoria.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I get you. Like, Jeff, you're a little too sophisticated with your words.
He's like a drama student in this one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
He's acting way too much.
Yeah.
And then we get to the ending, and like overall, Jeff's exposition dump kind of like hits pretty flat, honestly. Like he says like, okay, he's a demon and all that.
Yeah.
And like he's able to type, and he's like happy to do so. So like, why wait until now? And with how I said before, with how like drama student he is here, you'd think he'd happily be leaving paragraphs of text on the computers of the victims he has. But he doesn't. This is like the first time he's actually just like straight up talking to people.
It it could be that this is the first time he's actually been able to manifest, like, and actually like articulate some of his through his manifestations, rather than just kill the person. Like this might have been like the straw that or the needle that broke the camel's back, as it were, for like him being able to like actually like articulate with words or like with typing rather than just with like slashing.
I guess maybe, I don't know. Perhaps.
Yeah.
But anyways, it also brings up the question, like, what exactly Jeff is here? Because like what if he's always been? Hang on, how do I word this? Oh, okay. It also brings up the question if Jeff is and has always been a demon in a human body, or if this is just some cyber demon like that picked Jeff as an avatar basically because of how popular Jeff is on the internet. Yeah. And he's using it to like disguise himself while he's doing his deeds.
Yeah.
But that doesn't overly make too much sense either, because like he openly unmasks himself in this. Maybe that's due to the detective like getting the first message out already, so like he's already exposed, so might as well just let everyone know and make everyone panic.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, or like maybe not even just like a Cyberdian that's mucking or like disguising itself as Jeff, but like it could also be just a demon that is Jeff that spawned from all of the correlated sort of like read belief in the stories of Jeff the Killer by like everybody online.
It also just might be a copycat killer.
Yeah.
That a demon is using his like moniker for.
That's true also, yeah.
And then in regards to the like scribbly writing of the detective being murdered, I would say that it's like I wonder if it's him trying to post it like while he's being attacked. I would think it'd be a mouse click, unless there's like a shortcut on the right side of the keys, maybe like Control P or something like that is post. But otherwise, it's kind of like silly.
Yeah, because like time.
That being said, that sort of thing would probably happen if you're in the middle of typing and then you get attacked. You're going to be hitting some random keys on the way down, and Jeff like isn't going to clean up your text after.
Yeah, and then like the latter ones is just like him, just his face or like a hand hitting the keyboard and landing on one that kind of comes up to the forefront and just starts repeating constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it is, and on the surface level, it is silly, but also like it could make sense if like characters are being attacked kind of thing.
Yeah, he died pretty quick too, because like the repetition of it, I'm like actually like putting my fingers where they are now. It's like he just died up there and he slid down a little bit and held on the J and then he pulled him off.
Yeah. Although so it's like JU for like a long time, and it's just like so. I just imagined him like as he's dying, he's just like JU with his like fingers.
No, that's like his body on it, just saying on it.
Yeah, like as he's
and
like
honestly,
slumping
that's not
over.
really that long of a time, because you hold down a key and see how quick the letters get pumped out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's all of 1 second or 2 seconds to do all that.
Fair.
But that's the end of my notes.
All right. Well, on to final thoughts then. So I'm still not going to recommend it, though I will conditionally recommend it to people that have the same kind of situations that Jeff the Killer like brings up in the last bit of the story, because that's just funny.
Yes.
That is absolutely something I do. But like, yeah, there were some things that I found very fun for a spooky story setup, and it had some really interesting ideas to play with a Jeff the Killer story. But for most of the story, the execution to me was lacking, and I just kept coming off a bit silly rather than serious or like spooky. And I know I'm gonna get your flack from this, probably from Gamer, but it's like I just feel like there should have been a little bit more research when it came to like the police work stuff, if you're gonna have that be part of your story.
You're not wrong. I agree with you.
Yeah, because like otherwise, like like, and it's funny because like the Jeff bit at the end, I actually really enjoyed because, and even though he was being very silly, like the Joker is silly sometimes in a macabre way. Because it actually gave a sliver of personality at the end there. It just, unfortunately, that last bit wasn't enough to redeem the story for me for like all the other things that I didn't like about the story or didn't care for. So, yeah. A non-recommendation, though conditionally would recommend if somebody you know fits the bill for some of the circumstances that Jeff knows about at the end. So. Just if you want to prank somebody that you know is in one of those circumstances, send this story their way and see what the result is. But otherwise, I'm not recommending. Mikey, D stands for evil.
Yeah. So, I guess my biggest issue with this is the use of technology and technology not acting the way I would expect it to. Which you can say supernatural, but I mean, a computer is a computer. It's gonna do what a computer does.
I would think that I'm honestly kind of with you on that. Like, it's like supernatural. Like there are some parts that I'm willing to excuse because of the supernatural elements, but there are some things here that aren't directly connected to the supernatural stuff that just doesn't work from a technology point forward. So
like the blue screen.
Yeah.
The whole blue screen situation, like when
How antivirus works.
Yeah. And when I initially read this story, I stopped at that point and just had to walk away because I was like, "This is stupid," and then I had to come back to it later.
We all had that fucking wow. We all had that fucking reaction. Jesus.
So because of that, I still cannot recommend this story.
Fair. Gamer.
Well, for me, to the story's credit, it does something different with Jeff for a change. Most of them are just, here's a new origin story for Jeff, or Jeff is going around and murdering more people, just with a knife, and he's just the same Jeff. He just uses a knife, kills people, and that's it. So this one actually does something different, which I found kind of refreshing for once. I found the exposure of like Demon Jeff kind of puzzling as to why he would say it and like what that even means exactly. Like, was he always a demon in all of them, or is this actually the Jeff from the stories made flesh, or what? Or is it someone just copying him? Who, I don't know. It raised a lot of questions, but it also got me thinking, which is what most Jeff stories don't do either, because it's usually so simple. It's just boy gets burned or hurt by bullies, boy kills bullies. That's it. That's what Jeff stories mainly are. Yeah.
By man, I mean killer.
Yes. Yeah. So overall, I can't just give it a non-recommendation because it's doing something. So I have to at least give it a partial in that. And like what Culta said, if there's someone that fits the bill for all the callouts, that's absolutely a full recommendation just to like get their reaction to that. And absolutely tell them you did not read it first, or even, and no, you did not write it.
To just gaslight your friends.
Yes, of course. So, like, the read itself was relatively fun, even though there were a whole bunch of glaring issues that all of us brought up. And even my notes are not free of issues. There's a lot of weird shit that doesn't make sense. But I still enjoyed reading how it all went together, and I didn't hate the multiple perspectives. I actually would have liked more perspectives. Like how I said with, they could have sent a team into the asylum to see what that's all about, because you can get some backstory there of like, oh, well, Jeff was sent to this asylum at X date, and the location came from Jeff's room exactly, like, or something like that. But they didn't. But overall, I'll still give it a partial because, like I said, it did something. But it is a Jeff story, so I should go with low partial maybe because
like, the way
it
you
has
said
Jeff
it,
in it.
Because it did just like the way you said that so plainly. It's just like because it did something.
I mean, like you said,
Yeah,
low bar, very low bar to get over.
yeah. It's understandable. Like for being like second to Slender Man as like the iconic creepypasta like character. Jeff the Killer stories are just generally like there's just been it stemmed from such a low bar story. And everybody who comes out with one afterward, like it's just they're just origins repeating the same thing over and over again. So to your credit, I do like that you pointed out that this story does try to do something other than just make another origin story for the character.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because we have that a million times already.
Yeah. Every couple of years when there's a Jeff the Killer rewrite competition. So ultimately a partial recommendation.
Yeah,
Both,
partial. Bordering on low just because it has Jeff in it.
Yeah, that's fair.
If Jeff was removed with some other new creature, it would be better. Just by that alone.
By that, just because your general hatred for the character.
Yeah, but at this point, I'm getting like Stockholm syndrome because like you keep forcing me to read all these. So it's like, you know what? It's like whatever.
Well, to be fair, like this one, like we weren't gonna do a Jeffuary this year or like any Jeff stories because we didn't get any recommendations.
Yeah,
But then amusing Moose stepped in and said, "Hold my beer."
How dare you?
So, yeah. You can't pin this one on me, except you can because I
absolutely can.
Did say yes, I did say I did agree. I did like take the story recommendations and put it into our roster. So, poo.
Yes,
but yeah, I guess that'll do it. So, 2 non-recommendations and a partial recommendation. Although 2 full recommendation conditionally, if you know somebody that fits the bill of one of Jeff's prospective victims in the story. For a prank. Basically, if you want to prank your friends, full recommendation. But that'll do it for this week's episode. So if you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted. Some of us are on Blue Sky. Mikey's at the East Ends for Evil, and I'm at Review Cultist. So you can check us out there. You can also send us emails at aldentebrigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCPs, spooky things. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah. And if you'd like to help support our show financially, go to Patreon. Select the backer tier you'd like to support it at. We have special episodes, early access, and extra content. To our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. As always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like swimming to the void. And you know what? To all you authors out there of Jeff the Killer stories, and this story in particular, I may not have cared for it, and I may not have recommended it, but I'm glad I read it. As I am with all the stories we do. Like, even if I don't care for the story, I'm still glad that I read it and had this discussion, because without stories that you experiment with and play with and write up and post online for total strangers online to send, criticize, and what have you, like for all that, if you didn't do that, like ideas wouldn't get out there, and we wouldn't have much of a show. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the East Ends for Evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well, and
Go to sleep.
So gamer, I'm actually kind of surprised that you liked the story so much, especially since like 75% of the story is all in italics.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, didn't you notice that?
Uh,
Maybe not 75%, like 50% of the story is in italics.
oh, the detective notes are.
With the yep.
So they are, cultist. So they are. Kill me.